Today I am going to give you a presentation on absorption of water. This unit is from your paper second, plant physiology. In this unit we have to get idea about mechanism of water absorption in plants. Actually how the plant absorbs the water from the soil. According to Renner, who worked, he has done research, and in 1912 and in 1915 he has said that there are two types of a water absorptions takes place in the plant. First one, that is active absorption, and another second one, passive absorptions. Students, how actually the absorption of water takes place in the plant? We know that actually water is absorbed from the soil, and soil water, that is a capillary water, is only absorbed or available to the plants. As Renner has given two types, that is active absorption and passive absorption. Now in case of active absorption, again there are two types of active absorption. First one, osmotic absorption. Osmotic active absorption, if we say, then also it's all right. Again, second one, non-osmotic active absorption. So friends, Renner is the physiologist who worked and found that there are two actually types or mechanisms, we can say, that with the help of which plant absorbs the water. The main two, that is active absorption, and second one is passive absorption. Further, active absorption divided into two types, that is osmotic and non-osmotic active absorption. Now, what is actually difference between active absorption and passive absorption? So in case of active absorption, we can find word that is active. So we know that for the each and every activity their energy is required. The energy which is produced during the respiration. Here the plants absorbs water from the soil through the root system actively, but for that one it requires energy or ATP. So mechanism of active absorption of water requires energy, that is ATP. Another, during active absorption of a water creates root pressure. Another most important requirement, that is oxygen to the cells of root. Very interesting thing is that movement of water takes place against the concentration gradient, and that is possible to the plant because of spending of energy. So definitely the movement of water takes place from the solution of a higher concentration to the solution of a lower concentration, isn't it? That is against the concentration gradient, not that is along the concentration gradient but against the concentration gradient. So here, in case of active absorption mechanism, we find there is a requirement of a energy, that is ATP, again creates root pressure. Also, each and every cell of the root or other cells require the oxygen for their respiration. Means, already I have said to you, whenever oxygen is there, definitely we have to say that respiration process, isn't it? For the respiration, oxygen is required. Oxygen is there, synthesizes ATP, creates root pressure in case of active absorption of the water. Now, here the water moves from, we have to say that, higher concentration to the solution of a lower concentration. In the last lecture also I have said to you, always there is a movement of water from less sugar solution to higher sugar solution. Less sugar solution to high amount of sugar solution containing solutions. But here we can find actually movement of water, movement of solvent, we will say that, takes place from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. So definitely the soil water having a higher concentration and root sap having a low concentration condition. So such a things are happening, and here we can find that movement of water is against the concentration gradient. Next, again the active absorption divided into two types, that is osmotic absorption and non-osmotic absorption. Actually, osmotic absorption type, which is, we have to say that, discovered by Atkins in 1961 and Priestley. These are the two botanists, two physiologists are there. According to them, root acts as a osmometer. Roots acts like a osmometer, and water absorbed according to osmotic gradient. Osmotic gradient is there, and according to that one, movement of water takes place. Another type, second type of a active absorption, that is a non-osmotic active absorption, given by Thyman, Kramer. According to them, ATP is required and water absorbed by the plant against the concentration gradient or osmotic gradients. Now, here is a passive absorption. In case of passive absorption, totally opposite conditions as compared to active absorption we will be able to see. We know that in case of active absorption of a water mechanism, energy is required, but here energy is not required, doesn't need of a energy. So, no creation of a root pressure is in case of passive one, but in case of active absorption, we have seen there is a strong requirement of again energy. In case of active absorption, there is a creation of a root pressure, but here in case of passive absorption, there is a no creation of a root pressure. Now another thing is that no oxygen is required. So definitely we know that in case of active absorption, mechanism of absorption of water, there is a strong need of oxygen. So here is a no requirement of energy is there. Now movement of water is according to the concentration gradient. According to concentration gradient. So here osmosis takes place. Here osmosis takes place. In case of active absorption mechanism, there is, we have to say that movement of water is from higher concentration to lower concentration, that is against the concentration gradient. Here according to the concentration of gradient, in case of the passive one, no energy is utilized, no need of oxygen, no creation of a root pressure, isn't it? And again movement of water according to concentration gradient. According to concentration gradient is there. Thus according to concentration gradient, in the sense there is a movement of water from the place of solution of lower concentration to the solution of a higher concentration. So friends, very interesting mechanisms today we have studied. Mechanism of absorption of water. There are the two types of mechanism of absorption of water, that is active absorption and passive absorption. We have seen in case of active absorption, there is a requirement of energy. No creation of a root pressure in case of active absorption of a water. There is no need of a oxygen, and a movement of a water against the concentration gradient in case of active one. And in active absorption of a water by plant, the movement of water takes place from the solution of a higher concentration to the solution of a lower concentration. But here, in case of passive absorption, you'll have to keep in mind, my friends, no need of a synthesizing of a energy. So no oxygen is required, no energy is required. No generation of energy means no utilization of energy is there in case of this one. No creation of water pressure takes place in the root, and movement of water according to the concentration gradient, in the sense according to the, or like the osmosis, that is movement of a water takes place from the solution of a lower concentration to the solution of a higher concentration. Now friends, with this, or before completion of this our lecture, I would like to ask you, please write the notes of on your own, isn't it? As I have said that we have learned many physiological concepts like water potential, isn't it? Again we have seen which type of soil water is available to the plant for their absorption, that is one, capillary. So again we have learned the types of soil water. Types of soil water, total 5 we have studied. Out of that one, which one is useful to the plant, isn't it? That also I have taught to you in very well. So you will have to make a small subject diary. In that subject diary you have to write the things properly, so that you will be able to understand what is meaning of each and everything. You have to write about the diffusion, you have to write about the osmosis, you have to write about the water potential, you have to write about the how increase and decrease of water potential takes place, you have to write about the higher concentration, lower concentration solution, movement of a solvent or water from the uh, water according to the concentration gradient or against the concentration gradient. Means what? So this concept will help you to make a your base of knowledge of plant physiology very well. So I know that you will do this at your own, and that will help you to understand the exact physiology of the plant, and that will help you how the processes are going to take place, which things are required, isn't it? So with this I have to say thank you very much.